Shalom. Kal halalim la Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakak Warash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, elder bishops of Great Millstone that rule well. And shalom to the prophets of that body. And shalom to the 144,001 whoever you are, okay, scattered to the four corners of the earth. May peace and blessings and the spirit of endurance be upon you and your households as we approach the end. Lord willing, sooner rather than later. Now, from a UK perspective, things are happening, all right? And people can already see what's going on. Now, this is just with regards to the welfare system here in the UK. People know, here you go, a new world order incoming there's a new world order incoming, and this is all part of it. All right, so people have been, are getting the lowdown or have an inkling that something is on the horizon and a crash of the economy is coming to replace something which will give you a guaranteed income, but it won't be a lot. Like, what's that guy, that Klaus Schwab? You will own nothing and be happy. Movies with, they show you, for example, is it In Time or Just in Time with Justin Timberlake, where you had specific time given to you. I think it was in minutes, right? And if you don't use it, you lose it, right? So with what's going to come, what Esau wants to do is give you the charagma, the micro sihib, where you'll be given a guaranteed income, but you won't ever attain wealth. You won't ever have multiple homes. You won't ever have a job on the side and some kind of small business. You won't ever have the chance to better yourself. You're just going to be in a bland world. I mean, in every single way. Like the way, for example, the fashions and clothes today are very bland. They're not so bright and vibrant. If you look at the 70s and 80s and 90s, people dressed different. People were more vibrant. People dressed better. People didn't wear pajamas in the middle of the day, right? They didn't do that. Okay, now we're in a very different world where people are trying to hibernate and bury their heads in the sand, but it's coming. Okay, and I'm just going to play this little bit. This is a guy from Carl Vernon Talks. He's got some interesting subjects. All right, so I'm just going to, 1 second. Let me just play it from the start. It's 2 minutes, 57 seconds. All right.
On the bennies, pop them out and get paid. No worries. Don't work on the benny. Is pop them out and get paid. No worries. Today is the lifting of the 2-child benefits cap, which means basically that you can just keep popping them out. Are you working and supporting your kids? The more you pop out, the more you get paid. On the bennies. Yeah. Well, as this next chap on LBC, this presenter says, it's frightening.
For the first time now, we are spending more on benefits, on welfare benefits, than we're taking in income tax. That's the first time that's ever happened. Now, that is frightening. And if you don't think that's frightening, how do you think government is financed? Because it's either financed by taxes or by borrowing. There isn't really any other way of financing our welfare state and all the public services that we have. There really isn't. And we've got to live in the real world, not this world where we would love to spend lots more money on all sorts of weird and wonderful things. We can't do it if the money isn't there.
He's not heard. Money's just magical. It just appears. Money, yeah! It's kind of accurate, that. They just kind of make it up, don't they? It's like a figure on a screen now, isn't it? However, what isn't made up is what happens to those figures and those monies. And, well, you know what you call a business that spends more money than it makes? You call it bankrupt. Yeah, it's a failed business, because generally that's how it works, right? And considering countries are basically run like corporations nowadays, basically the UK is bankrupt. Basically, the UK, along with many other countries, is a failed experiment, a failed state. And I feel that we're just probably at the beginnings, along with the crisis, the totally organic other stuff that's going on. I fear that we're at the early stages of what that is actually going to mean and how it's going to significantly impact us. And although I would like to stay positive where I can be and, look forward and all the rest of it, when you're working hard, when you're doing the best that you can, and you've got people spending more money than they're making, these are the same dudes telling you what you need to do with your kashish too. That is not generally a good mixture. Ta-ta.
There you go. And there's also something else which I'm sure you may know about. It's called the Cloward Piven strategy, right? Okay, so this what this is, the Cloward Piven strategy, right? The Cloward Piven strategy is a political strategy outlined in 1966 by American sociologists and political activists Richard Cloward and Francis Fox Piven. The strategy aims to utilize militant anti-poverty groups to facilitate the political crisis by overloading the welfare system via an increase in welfare claims, forcing the creation of a system of guaranteed minimum income, okay, and redistributing income through the federal government. All right. Now, I think the UBI, is it Universal Basic Income? Let me see, is that a fixed income? Let me just Google that 1 second. I think that's something on the lines of it. The guy even said the Edomite on the screen, or what looks like to be an Edomite. He said on the screen, money is just like numbers on a screen. Yeah, because they keep printing money. There's no value to money anymore. All right. UBI. 1 second. Let's see. Yeah, Universal Basic Income, UBI, is a regular unconditional cash payment delivered to individuals on an individual basis without means, testing, or work requirements. It is designed to be a consistent fixed amount, often intended to cover basic needs like food, shelter, though payment amounts may vary. But it says here fixed amount, a fixed amount. I guess you got to tell them what kind of issues you have. They might bump it or reduce it. But for the most part, okay, this is going in the lines of a fixed income. All right. Now let me just go back to here what I was reading. I read the part there where it comes from. The Cloward Piven strategy. Where is that? There's a paragraph here I want to read. Where the hell is it? Okay, here we go. Michael Reich and Janice Andrews, okay, wrote that Cloward and Piven proposed to create a crisis in the current welfare system by exploiting the gap between welfare, law, and practice. I mean, the guy was talking about, women having children. So, they're going to blame immigrants and all that kind of thing again, which they actually do. A lot of Somalians and Arabs come over here, right? And they have multiple wives, multiple children, and they just claim money. While the men on the side will have some kind of mobile phone stand. They fix mobile phones and crack screens and make extra sideline cash as well, and so the system is exploited. So as you saw as well, there's a lot less coming in than going out. So they're just basically pumping cash out, which ultimately will lead to the crash. Okay, so there's various strategies being implemented here, in Ground Zero Babylon in America as well as the UK to push the the agenda of the New World Order, right? Okay, let me read this again. Proposed to create a crisis in the current welfare system by exploiting the gap between welfare law and practice that would ultimately bring about its collapse and replace it with a system of guaranteed annual income. They hoped to accomplish this end by informing the poor of their rights to welfare assistance, encouraging them to apply for benefits, and in effect, overloading an already overburdened bureaucracy. Okay, let me see if there's anything else I can get. We read that where it comes from. It comes from America. Obviously, these strategies come from America. It's ground zero Babylon, right? You know. Okay. Core goal to create a political financial crisis by overloading bureaucratic systems, forcing the government to replace them with a system of guaranteed income and federal control. Mechanism encouraging mass enrollment in welfare programs to break the system. Okay, they want to break the system. So they're doing this in every single way. Inflation, pumping out money, the more than they're taking in. They're closing down companies. They're closing down offices. Very soon there'll be energy lockdowns. So all this, right, as a collective strategy, they're getting jabbed. This current world system, right, or the UK or America is getting jabs and jabs and jabs and jabs, and from various different types of strategies, and then ultimately it's going to be a knockout punch, which will be the complete crash of the society. And then what they're going to do, they're going to put that thing in you, the micro C hip. Okay, Revelation 13:16. All right, mark of the beast, the mark of the beast. I'll just say it. Okay. UK context, although developed for the US, okay, of course, Esau is a cunning, you know what. Okay, UK context, although developed for the US, the concept is often discussed in UK political debate when analyzing welfare policy, public spending, and strategies to influence government's social security policies. Okay, there's another one as well, which is 1 second, just find it. Oh yeah. They're probably using this method as well. Now, if you've noticed the amount, if you remember, if you're in your late 40s, I remember there's a time very rarely you would see a so-called black woman or a brown woman with a white guy. You would see it, but it was like a damn anomaly. It was like a unicorn. It was like a person with a third head. You would see men of color with white women all the time. That was a standard thing. All right. With so-called white women, Edomite women all the time. That was a standard thing, 70s, 80s, 90s, as far as I can remember, right? But now, if you look at it, I see a lot more brown women of color, whether they're Israelites or heathens, with Edomite men, okay? Which they're pushing towards, this new world order, melting pot, Babylon, all the different cultures and languages as one. They're trying to push mixed marriages, and and which ultimately is done via mass migration, immigration, whatever, right? And they're making it normal, like they show all the commercials. You see a white guy, you might be sitting with a Latina or an Indian girl or a black woman or an Arab woman or whatever. Then you might see a Jake, and he might be sitting. And, every time they show a Jake, he's sitting with a black woman or sometimes a white woman in these commercials, whether it's the UK or America, right? But when it's an Edomite, they always show him with a woman of color. So they're trying to normalize it. And I've been seeing a lot of youngsters, right? I mean, back in my day, everybody stuck to their own kind. Yeah, there was here and there, you might see a woman of color with a white guy, but in the 80s, especially where I grew up in London, right? But, it was like an unusual thing when you did see a woman of color with a cracker, right, with the Edomite. But now it's like normal, okay? So this is called the Coden-Hove Kalaji plan. The Coden-Hove Kalaji plan is a far-right anti-Semitic conspiracy theory that alleges a deliberate plot to destroy European culture. All right. And there's no such thing as European. Okay. The real Europeans are the Japhetic people, but that's another topic right now. But let's just focus. This is focusing on Edomites. Okay. They call themselves European today. Okay. The same way they whitewash everything, they change their names so they don't nobody finds out that they're actually Esau, Edom. All right. Deliberate plot to destroy European culture and replace white Europeans with immigrants from other continents. Okay. The theory falsely claims that Richard von Coudenhove-Kalergi, a pioneering proponent of European integration in the early 20th century, orchestrated this plan, which is often described as a white genocide conspiracy. Esau, Edom, at the top, they don't care about their own kind, all right, and they and and ultimately, they want to do this to a certain degree, okay. They want to do this to a certain degree. Why? Okay, while they're pushing this and they're seeing people see all these mixed cultures and these mixed babies, you're going to have the so-called white people, those skinheads and skinheads and KKK and and their similar cohorts around the world are going to be up in arms, which is going to be another push towards what the collapse of this society, race wars, because people want to hold on to what they have. Okay, because Esau, Edom, doesn't understand that you are whatever your father is. Because if their men are dealing with women of color, their children are still Edomites, but they want to hold on to that pale look as well, because they want to hold on to their physical characteristics, what makes them a so-called white person, because that pale skin of theirs is their complexion for the protection. You know what I mean? Even though they lack a complexion, their lack of a complexion is their protection. Because they're deemed as the as the main man, the ultimate male, the so-called white man, which they're not. They're the ultimate FAGGOTT, right? The theory falsely claims that Richard von Coudenhove-Kalergi, a pioneering proponent of European integration in the early 20th century, orchestrated this plan, which is often described as a white genocide conspiracy. Okay, fabrication. The conspiracy theory was invented decades after Kalergi's death, notably by Austrian neo-Nazi Gerd Honsick in the early 2000s. Okay, so they're all involved, man. Okay, who was Richard von Coudenhove-Kalergi? Pan-European movement. Pan-European. You got Pan-African, now you got Pan-European movement. Born to an Austrian-Hungarian diplomat and a Japanese mother. So he's basically an Edomite, more than likely. Count Richard von Coudenhove-Kalergi, 1894 to 1972, was a philosopher and politician who founded the Pan-European Union in 1923, aiming for a peaceful, democratic, and united Europe to prevent future wars. His ideas of a multicultural and united Europe was directly opposed to Nazi ideology. Hitler referred to him as a cosmopolitan bastard in Mein Kampf, and the Nazis burned his books and forced him into exile. Okay. He's regarded as one of the forgotten fathers of the European Union, influencing early proponents of European unity such as Winston Churchill, Konrad Adenauer, and Charles de Gaulle. Far-right rhetoric. The Kalergi plan is used by far-right nationalist and extremist groups across Europe and North America to stir up fear and about immigration and to frame the European Union's migration policies as insidious and harmful. Well, this is what they're trying to do. Problem, reaction, solution. They create the problem, okay? Then they show you the reactions with the AI and crisis actors and literal, because they always got a damn camera right as soon as a person of color is doing some kind of pickpocket shit. They got a camera as soon as some person of color or whether they're heathen or whatever, because Esau going to lump everybody together, people of color, right? But when Jacob's trouble, Deuteronomy 30 verse 7, they got a camera as soon as somebody's trying to talk to a white woman or whatever. Then Esau comes in, leave our women alone, and starts hitting the Hamite or the Ishmaelite or whatever, right? So this is just to raise the sentiments and anger of the so-called white man to push this race war. If you look at the comments in a lot of these channels, about the British far right and America, what are the comments at the bottom? Take back your land, American man, American white man. Take back your land, native English. Take back your land, native Irish. Take back your land. Good on you, lads. When they beat the hell out of some Hamite or African or Ishmaelite or some Elamite or Paki or whatever, Pakistani or whatever, right? Take back your land, lads. So it is, and you can see, you look at Edomites' faces, they're pissed off when they see they're the pale face. go back 50 years, it was like spot the darkie. Now, if tables have flipped where they're the anomaly now. People of color are outnumbering. Even John Cleese, who's a famous British actor. What's he famous for, man? John Cleese. He even said that London is no longer a European city. Let me see. I think it's in Faulty Towers. What's John Cleese famous for? Yeah. Oh, yeah, in the Monty Python. Yeah. Monty Python's known in America. Yeah. His career defined his role in the comedy troupe Monty Python. Even he said, John Cleese, that London is no longer a British or English city. You know, and they call London Londonistan, and all this, that, and the third, and usual suspects. So we can see, all right, the crash financially coming, as well as morally. Well, it's morally crashed anyway, a long time ago, but financially it's definitely coming. And along with the financial crash, okay, the anger raised within the so-called white man of them losing grip of their society, and especially with regards to all these news segments coming about these men that come from these different countries in parts of the land of Ham, Africa, and Middle East, so-called Middle East, West Asia, and all that. And they come and they start talking to the little white girls or underage white girls, and their daughters are not safe. So obviously, this is just going to raise, push the agenda towards a race war. Jacob's trouble, Jeremiah 30 verse 7. All right. So we can see the fact that this is happening, and this is just going to lead to the demise of this world and society, which is a good thing, because, all right, we can see the crash on the horizon, and it's just a little further push more, and this place is going to, explode like a pressure cooker. All right. Let's go to some scriptures. Please bear with me. I'm just going to get some scriptures. Better, Ecclesiastes 7 and 8. Better is the end of a thing than the beginning thereof, and the patient in spirit is better than the proud in spirit. Okay? Being in this evil world, we want this place to end. And this is, because the kingdom that's coming is an endless, eternal kingdom. That's what we want. Those in this, in the right spirit and the right mindset, in the spirit and power of Yahweh B'Shem Yahshai. We want an eternal rulership under the spirit and power of Yahweh B'Shem Yahshai. We want righteousness. We want peace, man. You know what I mean? We want righteousness and we want peace. We want out of this evil chains of darkness, where here you are thinking about the scriptures and meditating on Yahweh B'Shem Yahshai, and some wicked thought just pops in your mind, and you think to yourself, where the F did that come from? I'm not thinking that. That's the constant war between the flesh and the spirit. We want out of this world, man. We want to go home. All right. So this kingdom, all these heathenistic kingdoms, right? Like in the book of Daniel, I believe, right? The concrete, is it the golden head and the concrete feet? We're at the concrete feet now. This world is crumbling. Okay. All these heathenistic kingdoms are temporary. So it's definitely better is the end of a thing. So Ecclesiastes 7 and 8. Better is the end of a thing than the beginning thereof, and the patient in spirit is better than the proud in spirit. All right. And our world is coming, man. Our world is coming. I'm just finding the scriptures. I'm just going to read 2 or 3 scriptures, Lord willing. I did paraphrase a couple, but I don't need to get them out. Lord willing, this should be okay. Ecclesiastes 3 and 2. A time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted. Okay? Our kingdom that's coming is never going to be plucked up. But these heathenistic kingdoms, all right, they were all plucked up. Okay? They were planted, they thrived. Okay? I mean, for example, look at ancient Egypt, Hamite Egypt. All right? We were there, we made it pop. All right? It was known around the world. It was once a thriving society, a successful society. We had our first exodus from there, okay, and a magnificent one, right? But the one that's going to happen now is going to be more magnificent than the first one. The second exodus is going to be more magnificent, Okay, so and look at ancient Egypt today. These Ishmaelites, these Arabs, actually think that they're the Egyptians. All right, when the Egyptians are in Sudan, the Sudanese, swatting flies sitting on their eyes and shit, pot bellies. That's the ancient Egyptians today. Tall for lanky for no damn reason, and can't play ball for shit. Basketball. They're just lanky Hamites. All right, that kingdom was plucked up, and the same thing is going to happen to this heathenistic kingdom. Ecclesiastes 3:2: a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted. All right. All right, just one more scripture. Let's go to 2nd Ezra, man. Second Ezra 6 verse 9. For Esau, the so-called white man, is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Our rulership is coming, our eternal rulership, okay? All right. And you can feel the heat and pressure, but it's better that we get our licks now, the hopeful elect, rather than with the rest of the world. And I urge you to hasten the day, ask the Lord to speed up the time, and pray for your protection, and pray for the protection of the elders and apostles, and pray for your protection, pray for the protection of your families, and a lot of us, weren't born, I'm going to go into a tangent, but a lot of us weren't born with a Bible in our household, so we got to pray for our family members as well, especially Israelite foreigners, that to try and bring them around. All right, and Lord willing, things are progressing in that direction, but Lord willing, I believe Yahweh Hashem Shai has given a lot of spiritual confidence to the hopeful elect, because the Lord lets you know. It's not a confirmation as yet, but the Lord lets you know and takes that fear out of your heart, giving you that confirmation that, okay, you're going to be all right. Just keep the faith. Hebrews 11 verse 1. Faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. Okay, so our kingdom is coming, our eternal rulership. But I just thought I'll point out this video. We can see things happening in real time. All right, and this only can go on for so long. All right, it's only so long you can heat a pressure cooker up. It's only so long you can keep putting heat to something before it, explodes, implodes, whatever, before it deteriorates. And we are on the brink of the destruction of this society, and Esau is going to bring in his solution, which a lot of people will gravitate towards because they want to hold on to so-called normalcy, which they enjoyed in their youth. Okay, all right, I'm gonna leave it there now. All praises, honor, glory, and blessings and power be unto Abanoah Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash, Mawathabad Babal, Kwam Yashwala Shalom.